Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and today's episode we're joined by a very special guest, current professional hockey player Parker Rutherford. He is currently playing in the Federal Prospects Hockey League with the Dashers Hockey Club. In his rookie season, he's been with the Dashers this entire season, but last year he spent a couple games with the Elmira River Sharks and the Baton Rouge Zydeco, as well as getting a cup of coffee in the ECHL with the Indy Fuel. And before that, he spent his college days in the ACHA with Robert Morris University in Pennsylvania for 4 years. And even before that, he spent time in the USPHL Premier for a couple years before going the college route. So, Parker, I'm really excited to have you on. So, welcome to the show, Parker Rutherford.
Thanks for having me, Jack. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, of course. It's been an episode in the making for a while, so I'm glad we were able to make some time and get this going.
Yeah, I'm glad we got our schedules figured out and can make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. But to start things off, like how have you been personally and just like it's the grind of a season right now. So how's everything with you?
It is a grind of a season. As you mentioned, it's my rookie season. I technically played last year, but I did not go through what I'm going through this year with just the amount of games and the crazy travel schedule and everything that hockey asks of you. So technically, this is my first little, sip of water at pro hockey, and I'm trying to deal with what it requires of you mentally as well as physically, and both are very, very daunting. People can try and prepare you for it, but you just really don't know until you do it yourself. But I'm doing well. I'm definitely trying to make the most of it, and I'm having a good time.
Yeah, that's all you can do is just get the most out of it and just go every day to practice with like a good mindset just to get better every day and just continue to help yourself like get better and like have that. And like you said, like it's hard mentally and physically on you throughout the season, but just got to keep grinding through, and that's what we all do it for.
Exactly. It is what you make of it. That's what I tell
Yeah,
myself.
yeah, exactly. But I want to start off like you're from Fort Wayne, Indiana. So what was it like growing up in Fort Wayne? Like how do you become a goalie, and what made you become a goalie?
Yeah, from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now it is known as a hockey town. Before it really wasn't, but I grew up going to Komets games. That's just in my backyard. So before I can even walk, they had me going to Komets games. We were season ticket members for the longest time. So we'd go out to skate with the players after Sunday games. And that's when I really got my first touch of ice when I was really young, probably 4 or 5, getting to skate. And that's how I got my touch of hockey. My parents got me into it. I started skating, doing learn to skate as a player, how most people do. And then when I got into probably the house leagues, I would skate out as a defenseman or a forward. And I didn't have any interest in goalie at all. And then I played a few games as a player, and they said, "All right, it's time to get off. It's time to take a shift off, just change lines." It's like, no, I don't want to come off. So they were like, "Well, you have to come off. That's how it works." I was like, "But why? Like, I'm fine." They're like, "Well, the goalie is the only one that stays on the entire game." It's like, "Well, I guess I'm a goalie now." So I got into the goalie pads a few times and just fell in love with it instantly. And it's a story ever since. But I still occasionally skated out going through travel hockey and just amateur hockey. And I still enjoy skating out to this day every summer. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Crazy like everyone wants to stay on the ice the entire game, but a lot of people don't make that transition to goalie because they're like, oh, you gotta block shots now. Like, no, that's
exactly.
not for me. But
Yeah, you got
like
hit with
us,
things. Yeah.
yeah, like us, we're crazy in that aspect to
Mhm.
want to get hit by pucks and enjoy it.
Yep. You want to be on the ice that bad, you're gonna eat some shots.
Yeah, just
So
gotta
that's
do
exactly what we do.
whatever I can to stay on the ice for all 60 minutes.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, but like, did like the pads draw you to the position? Like once you like got into it, like was it like all about the pads and like the gear, or like what was it like the moment where you're like I fell in love with the position of goaltending?
Yeah, once I got into goaltending more full time, travel hockey, at first it was just wanting to be on the ice as much as possible. And then I started going to Comets games, like I mentioned, and I started to pay more attention to the goalies. And there was a goalie named Kevin St. Pierre. who wore number 31 for the Komets, and he was just the epitome of being flashy. He had really cool all orange pads. He had a really cool custom mask. Like he said, the gear really draws you to it. But he would also just make these absolutely crazy saves. And you really don't start to realize what's going on until you just watch the goalie.
Yeah.
You're like, that looks like a blast. And every time they touch the puck, the fans go crazy. And he might not have the glory of scoring a goal, but it got just as loud when he make a save. And it was, I don't know, just watching him really drew it to me. And then just watching other goalies was like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly. And like just like the big time saves, the flashy saves, like sometimes you got to make a huge windmill save to boost the energy of the boys, but like
Yep.
then you learn like after you learn about the position that if you're making a desperation save, you're probably out of position a little bit. So you
Yep.
don't want to do that too often, but every here and then, like perfect.
Yeah. Overrated. Yeah, for sure. To this day, that's my favorite thing to do. It's just being flashy, a little over dramatic. I hear it from my teammates all the time, but growing up, it was always, yeah, you got to be in position, stuff like that. Like I fully am on board for that, but my style of play is just stop the puck. At
Yeah.
this point, it's just stop the puck. And if you can make more than one save, hopefully you're not out of position enough to where you have to make two desperation saves in a row. But my motto is just stop the puck. Do whatever you can to stop the puck. So,
Yeah, that's a good motto to have because if you do that,
mhm,
you end up winning the game.
exactly. I'm a big Jonathan Quick fan, and once I transitioned to him, I was like, well, he's in position, but he's still making these saves. So then the more you break down his game, you're like, maybe I'm not completely out of position. You know, start to feel a little bit better about your game.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, if you're feeling good about your game, everything else feels good. So if
Exactly.
and
Confidence is
and it
key.
comes with winning and comes with confidence as well.
For sure.
Yeah, but like what was it like growing up throughout like the travel, the house to travel and just growing up all the way throughout until you hit junior hockey?
Yeah. So I went through all of the Fort Wayne amateur hockey. So we used to be junior Comets and then got into, I think they changed the name to a few different things. But I would play like midget bantam, and then we had a AAA team that came in for a year or two, but it's Fort Wayne AAA hockey back in the day. It wasn't competing with the Bell Tires and the Little Caesars of the world that were actual AAA teams. So it technically was AAA, but it wasn't that high a level. And I was also playing high school hockey at the same exact time. So I would practice every single day, every other day with a different team. So the skill gap was tough going from AAA shots to the next day facing just high school shots in Indiana, which wasn't not sugarcoating it. It's not the best. So
Yeah.
trying to deal with that skill gap was tough, but I loved both of them. I loved the
Yeah.
competitiveness of AAA, and I loved just playing for my school and hanging out with my friends that I see at school every day. It was huge for me. So I didn't want to lose my childhood and my high school hockey years of just because I wanted to play AAA instead and maybe have it not pan out to anything. So I had the option of doing both, and that's the route I went with, and I loved it. Went to the state finals my freshman year, lost in triple overtime, unfortunately, and then came back, won the state championship my sophomore year. We did win. That was huge. And then junior year, we lost in the semifinals, so we didn't go. And then that took me into, I think it's decision time. If I want to do this, I have to take it seriously. So my senior year of high school was when I moved away to play my first year of juniors in Connellsville, Pennsylvania. That was something. It's probably not even in the record books, but it was a league called the NCPHL. It was a branch off. It was just a 1 year thing, and it was something. I think there was only 5 teams in the league.
Bro.
I was seeing 70 plus shots a night, and we won. Well, it sounds ominous now. I think we won 3 games all season. It feels super ominous now that I say it out loud, but it was a blast. And that was my first touch of junior hockey.
Yeah, but like I'm sure like throughout like the high school AAA, like it really helped you like at least develop because you're seeing those shots every day, even though like they're different like skill level, but like you're still seeing repetitions every day. So like I'm sure that helped when you got to junior hockey a little bit.
Oh yeah, just the puck touches, being on the ice more often. And a big thing for me is I'm at the rink every day doing coaching or playing myself. I want to keep hockey fun. I really
Yeah.
do because people are like, you've done it for how long? How is that still fun? How do you still want to go every day? How are you not tired of it? So playing high school hockey was honestly one of the biggest blessings to me because it kept hockey fun.
Yeah.
Going and seeing my friends and seeing my family in the stands and stuff like that was just it made hockey fun. It kept me wanting to come back for more. And then being on the ice as much as I was huge. So when I got to junior hockey and I had to practice every single day for hours on end, it wasn't anything new to me. It was just weird being with one team only. So
Yeah, exactly. But you move on and then you keep developing, and you're playing junior hockey your first time, and like you said, you're facing a whole lot of rubbers, 70 plus shots a night. So like what do you learn from experiences like that when you're just facing a lot of rubber, and like that eventually leads into like what you're facing this season when you're facing a lot of rubber.
yeah, no, my first year of juniors just seems oddly familiar. The more I talk about it, I didn't even realize it until I came on here. But no, it was a great time. Just seeing that many shots makes you realize like how much do you want to do this, you know? So yeah, I don't know. It was a tough year, not winning very many games, but in the end, it's exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Get all the looks from different teams in that same league. And ultimately it helped me get to my next spot in the USPHL the following summer because they saw what I was going through previous season. They're like, your record might not have been great. Goals against average might not have been great, but the save percentage was really high for where you were at.
Yeah, so then you move on to the USPHL. So like what was that going up to that league like, and then just to be able to get comfortable and not face as many shots as you did before.
Yeah, it was a weird transition because I was going from that team that was not doing very well to one of the top teams in the USPHL Premier, which was Wisconsin Rapids River Kings, which was coming off of a Final Four appearance the year I was going in there. So they were the top dog. And it was just weird being recognized by a team like that after what I just went through and getting used to seeing 25 to 35 shots a game. They don't ask a lot of you, but when you do get asked upon, you need to respond.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a crazy transition. I loved it up there. I did. Some of the best people I've ever met. Really small town. Um, they just treat you like family there because there, frankly, wasn't much to do in that town. So attendance was very high. I met some of my best friends I still talk to this day up there, which is huge. But yeah, my first year I backed up for a really good goaltender, but I got a few games in, and then I decided I loved it so much that I wanted to come back for my age out season. So I came back. I was the guy, and things just didn't pan out the way they were supposed to. Season was going rough. I didn't feel as great as I was hoping. Honestly, I think I made the bar too high for myself. I was like, this is how it went last year. This is how it's bound to go this year. And that's just not how it went. And that was probably the first time I had to deal with just the mental challenge of being a goaltender. At first it was this is fun. I love coming to the rink every day. But that age out season of my junior's career really put me through the ringer. It made me decide, is it really worth it? You know, there was that one morning where I'm just like, I don't want to go. I'm just not having fun anymore. When, you lose 3 games in a row and you just feel like it was all your fault because you're only seeing 20 shots a game.
Yeah.
Not used to that. So I had to wrap my mind around that, regroup. Um, I got right 3/4 of the way through the season, and then things just weren't panning out. And I ended up getting traded to the Chicago Cougars, which is right down the road from where I was at. Honestly, that was the first time I've gone through something like that, so it broke my heart. Um, I frankly didn't want to touch a pair of pads ever again. That was probably one of the lowest points in my life. Um, but I did report to Chicago. I only played probably 2 games, 3 games, because it was close to the end of the season. They were going to the national tournament. I didn't have enough games to qualify. So I played 2 or 3 games with them. And then that was my junior career. It was a terrible way to end it. And I didn't know if I wanted to play anymore. If I wanted to play in college, because hockey wasn't fun to me at that point, which is like coaching and talking to younger goalies today, that is the first thing I always ask you. Are you
Yeah.
having fun? So that was a tough way to end it, but I decided, you know what? I want to go to a really nice school, get an education, and if hockey's there, then I'll try it, you know. Maybe it'll become fun again. So my first year at juniors was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And that's where I toured Robert Morris University, which is where I ended up going because I fell in love with it the first time I went there. And the rest is history. So I committed there, and that's where I played 4 years ACHA hockey, as well as getting a really good education.
Yeah. That I mean, obviously, like you want to go out of your junior career with a bang, but obviously you're at the lowest point that you're able to join a program with a good school, good education system, and a good hockey program as well. And it seems like you're able to find that love for the game again. So like what was going in there like your first year like and just being able to find that love for the game again.
Yeah, correct. It was trying to find that love of the game again. So I went into it that I probably wasn't even going to play hockey. They had a roller hockey team, which I love roller hockey as a skater. So I was like, you know what? I'll go and play roller hockey and maybe I'll dabble with ice. So I went into it. I talked to the coach a little bit. I talked to the NCAA Division One coach, and he was like, "I'm gonna put you in contact with the club hockey coach, just because it's easier to talk to him." So I reached out to Mike Joseph, which is the director of club hockey and head coach for the ACHA D1 team, and he told me to come out for open tryouts the first week of school. So I went out and I was actually nursing an injury. I had a pulled groin when I was trying out for the team, and I didn't tell him because
Yeah.
I felt like I could do it. I could power through a week, make the team, and then I'll break the news to him. So I went through 2 days of practice, and he liked me a lot. We talked. He was like, "Why are you here? Like, this is a commuter school. A lot of Pittsburgh area kids come here, and not a lot of out of town students come in to play club hockey." And I told him I wanted to do sport management, and the city's all about sports. So I figured it was the perfect education. And you have a great program for club hockey and NCAA team in the same rink. And he was like, "Well, we'd love to have you on the team. Jump right onto the D1 team." I was like, "Okay, that's great." And he's like, "Do you want to skate the rest of the week?" I was like, "Well, I mean, I'm a little sore. I'm nursing a pulled groin." And he was like, "Why in the world are you skating right now?" I was like, "Well, I wanted to make the team." He's like, "You could have just told me, and I would have probably given you one look until you were on the team." So I took the rest of the week off. I skated 2 days, and the rest is history. I made the team. Um, I actually started as a backup my freshman year, and then worked my way up to starting in playoffs my freshman year. We ended up losing in the conference championship, but it was a really cool experience. Really cool. Being a starter is basically everything I wanted. My age out year of juniors happened my freshman year.
Yeah.
It was just cool how it worked out. It was just a year later, completely different state, different situation. And then just fast forwarding, sophomore year was a good season. Um, got shut down because of COVID, but we were still playing. Um, so we actually beat, I think, Ohio University my sophomore year. I didn't play, but we got ranked number one for the first time in club hockey history in our program. So we went to the national tournament, lost to my hometown team, Indiana Tech. That hurt a lot, especially because I
Yeah.
didn't get to play, and a lot of my friends are on that team. Junior year was about the same, and then senior year was the year where I had to decide what I want to do with my life afterwards. That was the year we beat Liberty University on their home ice, who was ranked number five. I think I finished with 64 or 65 saves on ESPN. It was the coolest experience of my life. It was just, that was probably the peak of my childhood, if you want to call it amateur hockey, was beating Liberty. Um, Made a bunch of headlines and news across all over the club, universe.
Yeah.
And then I ended up graduating and I had to decide what I wanted to do. And here I am. Yeah, that was my college journey. It was a grind.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a grind, but like a good grind, and it like really got you back on track and everything. And then you faced Liberty and made 64, 65 saves. Like I remember seeing headlines of that when I was like a couple years ago. So like that was cool. But like, what was that game like for you? Like obviously like 64 saves, 65 saves, like it's not like you haven't faced that many shots before, but like
Yeah.
it's at a whole different level and it's like it means more as well.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember a whole lot about that game. I blocked out for most of it, but that was my first time. Like, I grew up going to a bunch of these cool East Coast games and all this stuff. That was my first time really playing myself in an environment where there's thousands of people. There's a jumbotron. There's, a tunnel people came out of. Like, it was just that moment that I've been watching as a kid. So when I went into it, I was like, everybody's expecting us to lose by 100.
Yeah.
So if I go in and I lose by 5, that's a win. So I just had fun. I was like, I'm just gonna go out there. I'm gonna challenge more. I'm just gonna do me and trust my team. And if it happens, it happens. But we went down early, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. Here comes the route. And then they just didn't score the rest of the first period. And the second period came, and we scored. And it was a tie game, 1-1. It's like, wow, like can the game just end like this? But there was just so many people and so many things going on. I think I was just so dialed in and not getting embarrassed in front of that many people. I knew my friends and family were watching the game back home for the first time that they can watch it like on ESPN Plus, and that was a big deal. They all were, around the TV watching, and I knew that. So we got through the second period. I think we were up 2-1 at the end of the second period, and third period we were like, just don't screw this up. If we lose, we're not losing by more than 2. So we were just going into it like, just don't be too high, don't get too low. And I don't know, I just blacked out the third period. The last thing I remember is us scoring an empty net. Just looking up and being there's only 20 seconds left. It's like, wow, this happened. I almost cried right then and there. Like this is it. This is my peak. But eventually it wouldn't be. But my college career, that is still my favorite memory. A lot of my teammates' favorite memory. I know that. It just shocked the world. Being one of those underdogs like in football that shocks the number one team in the country. It's crazy being on that side of things, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And we ended up getting smoked the next night because I think they were a little irritated. I did
Yeah.
not play. My coach asked if I wanted to go in, and I said absolutely not. Going out on top. I'm done. I'm leaving this building 1-0. I'm not going in there. So I feel bad for my goalie partner, but either way, that changed the course of our program for sure. We got a lot of recruits out of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was able to change the way the program was and just it got a lot of attention. Like I'm sure your phone probably was blowing up right from the second you got
Blowing
into
up.
the locker room.
Yeah, blowing up just people from the woodworks I haven't talked to in years and years saying, I watched the game. I'm so proud of you. Blah, blah. How are you still walking? Stuff like that. It was crazy. I couldn't get on my phone for days without because I'm super OCD and I saw all the
Yeah.
messages from everything and I just couldn't get on. So it was amazing. It definitely restored my love for hockey before I graduated.
Yeah, that's awesome. But like even like it will let on like before that where you were a backup when you first came and then you became like that starter by the end of your freshman year and got a start in playoffs too. Like what did you learn from going from that backup position to that starter position right away and just to, like just how hard you have to work to get to where you want to be?
Yeah, I think it really settled in and made me realize I just need to believe in myself more. Like even in tryouts, when I was like, I need to grind through this with an injury because I need to make the team. He was like, you would have made the team after one day. You just have to give yourself more credit. I think that was a big thing going from backup to starter. And that's what happened to me in juniors was I just put too much pressure on myself. You got to be perfect. You have to be as good as the guy you're replacing. And we were two different goalies. Two different goalies. I tried to be him, and I just need to be me. And at RMU, it was, you know what? This might be my last chance at hockey. This might be my last 4 years of hockey that I've dedicated my whole life to. Let's just be you. You know, you can't get traded in college. You can't get released in college. Just let the worries go, have fun, and worry about your homework. You know, there was a lot more distractions to take your mind off of I need to be perfect every Friday and Saturday night. So I think just, taking a little bit less pressure off of myself and realize like I might be the last line of defense, but they have to get through other people first and not everybody's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, just like sit back and just like don't put so much pressure on yourself because like when you do that, like everything seems to just be a whirlwind. But if you're relaxed and like you're confident with yourself, you believe in yourself, like that's when you're having the most fun, and when you're having the most fun is when you see the most success. And I wonder why.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have a little bit of swagger. Like, you got to be a
Yeah,
little cocky, have that chip on your shoulder. You don't want to show it because I'm not a big fan of people that show it all that much, but you
yeah,
do want to walk with that swagger and have your shoulders high.
yeah, exactly. That's for sure. But like, what was it like mentally for you, like throughout college, and just learn the mental game of being a goalie, and just to use that to go on to the next level as well.
Yeah, I really started to learn how to use my mental game in college, dealing with it wasn't as many games, but dealing with how to treat my body, how to deal with adversity when we lose a game. Because we were in a decent conference, but we were actually still one of the better teams. So we were expected to do well, just like in juniors. So I needed to carry that on my shoulders, but not let it weigh me down either.
Yeah,
So dealing with how to take the pressure um, was huge. But like I said, distractions, um, homework, being around my friends and family that would come visit. I played roller hockey while I was there. So that was a good thing to keep my mind occupied. You just can't, surround yourself with nothing but hockey.
yeah,
The ACHA D1 RMU hockey at that very moment. You have to have other things going on. Honestly, I think having homework helped because I would go to hockey in the mornings, turn my brain off, and then go to class. So when I'm in class, I worry about class. I'm at hockey, I worry about hockey. And then I just think, trying to have a place for everything helped a lot. And then leading up to pros, it's just not putting as much pressure on myself, like I said, at RMU helped. And just the people that I was with also knew what I was struggling with because I would tell them like how juniors went, and they had a lot of advice for me, as well as my professors and just colleagues. And Mike Joseph was amazing, my coach. So all kudos go to them for that.
yeah. That's huge that you had all the help in the sport there, and just have like have it get or have it like help you, and like especially like when you're dealing with adversity, and just to like help you like mentally like prepare for that stuff and not put so much pressure on yourself, like you said.
Absolutely. Makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. But like you said, you played roller hockey as well there. So like, what was it like playing roller hockey there? And like, I know you said like you love playing roller.
I do love playing roller. It's just a nice break from playing goalie. I'm a natural born goal scorer. Nobody's gonna, believe it, but I'm a goal scorer. I'm a defense. I play defense, but I'm a goal scorer. Just don't listen to what anybody else says.
Offensive
Um,
defenseman.
no, no, I'm all the way down there. I'm cherry picking. Somehow I miss my guy back there, but no, I've been playing roller for the longest time. I would play in my garage, just me in a net. Playing out game seven, in my head in the garage, my rollerblades. And it was just a nice way to turn my brain off and just have fun. Like pretending I'm in the game and I was watching last night was so much fun. And then when I became to the age where I could actually play in a league, I got to play with my dad and some of his older friends, in the beer league, roller beer league. But I was only probably 13, 14. I was that kid that like, why is this kid out here? I was that kid, but I was going way, way too hard, but I was really enjoying it. And yeah, even to this day, I still run and captain and manage and all this. I run two roller teams every summer, and then I run a tournament team every summer for state wars and sometimes like Wish Cup and stuff like that. But it's just something I turned into like an off-season habit and of wanting to do to stay in shape. It's better than being on a treadmill every single day.
True.
So it's a good way to stay in shape and stay around the game of hockey. And honestly, it slows your brain down when you play goalie. So you're like, if I'm a player, what am I thinking about doing right now? And vice versa. I know what these players are thinking now.
Yeah.
Like it helps my goalie game and it also helps just my hockey IQ being around those kind of players. And now I'm playing with Komets players that I grew up watching or on some of my teams, like some of my idols that I looked up to and still look up to, and some of my colleagues now. I get to pick their brain. Like, if it's a 2-on-1, what are you looking for? What what makes you want to pass it at this certain point? Why do you shoot it here? Picking their brains. So then I come down to the Fed. I know what they're thinking or what they should be thinking. So yeah, it's a really good it's a really good hobby that I have and I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just another way to stay stay uh stay in shape, like you said, and just have some fun and still keep the love for the game, even like during the off season. Like you're still buzzing around, scoring goals. Like there's nothing better
Exactly.
than that. Like I know so many
Exactly. Get the
goalies
best of
that
both worlds.
yeah, I feel like so many goalies just love skating out in the summer. It's just playing beer league, whatever. Because I think we're all natural goal scorers too when we skate
Oh yeah,
out.
100%. Nobody can tell it differently.
No, exactly. We're just buzzing around, just having a good time. It's all that matters.
Mhm. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, but after your college career comes to a close, you go the professional route, and you also attended like the Fort Wayne Komets training camp in the coast. So like, what was what was it like after college, just making that decision to go pro and like having Fort Wayne be your first training camp too?
Yeah, crazy. I remember sitting in my dorm room after my college season ended, and I was just thinking like they were having all these job fairs and different interview practices at college. And I remember talking to my parents like, I feel good, but like I really don't know what I want to do. I have no idea. Like there's a million different things I want to do and a million different things I don't know if I would do. It's just such a general area with sport management. And I wanted to be around a team and feel like I left a lot on the table in college just because I still felt really good when I ended the season. And a few of my friends, being from Fort Wayne, were playing pro hockey at that time. They were like, you should come do this. You should come do that. It's like, no, I don't know. Like after college, I'm done. And then they would show me some of their friends' stats, or they'd be like, your stats compare this to that. And I always thought my height would hold me back from playing pro.
Yeah.
So I'm a pretty short guy, and being from Fort Wayne, and I'm just not, I'm not somebody's first choice. I know that's fact. Um, but when they showed me some of these other guys they're comparing me to, I was like, I could do that. Like, I think I could hold my own. So that's when I really started to think about the possibility of playing pro. After college, I talked to my parents. I expected them to be like, no way. You are getting a job. You are paying me back for everything that I spent growing up. And to my surprise, everybody's surprise, they were on board. They're completely on board. They were like, follow your dreams. If that's what you want to do, then we're fully behind you. And I can't thank them enough for that. Um, to this day, like I'm still living at home during the off seasons because it's just not worth finding your own place when you're only home for a few months at a time.
Yeah.
So for them to be willing to let me stay and deal with this crazy, crazy life that I have, they are my biggest supporters and they mean the whole world to me. Um, I just hope they know that because I wouldn't be where I am without them. But um, yeah, they were on board with it. So I really started to like talk to a friend of mine who's a player advisor. I was like, listen, I'm not going to get my hopes up, but like, can we talk? And can you tell me, be honest with me, am I crazy for thinking I can do this? He goes, no, absolutely not. I can get you somewhere before you graduate. Like, yeah, okay, take a step back. Like, no, no, I want to graduate. I've been here for 4 years. I earned this piece of paper. I'm walking with this piece of paper. So I made it through college. I walked with my teammates and my classmates. And that was amazing. My parents, my sister, my grandma was able to be there in Pittsburgh for my graduation. That was an amazing time. And then after I graduated, I hired my advisor and picked his brain a little bit. And we decided that our deal was for first year, rookie year is always rough. We gotta establish that. So he's like, all I ask is that if we're doing this, you commit 3 years of your life to this, no matter how bad first or second year is. Give me 3 years because you never know what's going to come year three. So I committed to that, and man, was he right. First year was chaos, if you want to call it the first year. But yeah, that's how I committed to doing that, and I ended up signing with Blue Ridge Bobcats in the Federal Prospects League to go to camp with them, and I made it to Blue Ridge for one day. And I was skating that night. I think it was a scrimmage. After I got off the ice, I checked my phone to let my parents know how it was going, and I had a missed call from the equipment manager from the Komets. I was like, that's weird. Like he's one of the good friends of mine, but it's just weird for him to be calling me right now.
Yeah.
So I called him back. He's like, "Hey, we want to bring you in for camp. What do you think about that?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I don't want to lose my spot here with Blue Ridge." And he was like, "We'll talk to your coach about it, but this is a once in a lifetime thing. Like, you grew up here, and this isn't just a charity. Like, this isn't you just coming in because you're a local guy. We want to give you a chance and see what you have. Like, to be honest, we have guys coming down from the AHL, so we're not sure you're actually going to make the roster. So as long as you know that going into time, at least come get the experience, and we get to see you and know what we're getting into if we ever need you down the line." So yeah, my first pro contract and my first paycheck was from the Fort Wayne Komets, who was right down the road from me. Growing up, season ticket member for the longest time. That was just really crazy. And like I said, they had like this season ticket member meet and greet autograph session my second day there. And there's these guys that have been drafted to the NHL and ECHL All Stars. And my line is the longest because people just wanted to talk to me and ask how I got where I was and being so happy for me and hoping that I made the team and all this stuff. That was one of my craziest experiences I've ever had. Just these guys I've grown up sitting next to at Comets games coming up to me asking for an autograph because I was on the team and hoping that I made the team. It was just, I couldn't thank Fort Wayne enough for that. Everybody had my back, and I really appreciate it. Even though I knew I didn't really have much of a chance to make it just because of the situation and it being a last second thing, they full heartedly believed that I can make it, and there's still a chance it could happen. So I work for that every day, but I just really do thank them for that support. Um, then I went back to Blue Ridge after I got released from Fort Wayne, and I didn't even get a chance to skate. They said they replaced me while I was gone, and that's kind of where it set in that this is a business. There's not really such a thing as loyalty to a point, which was sad. Because I probably wouldn't have left if he would have said that I wasn't going to make the team when I got back. So that hurt. That wasn't an easy pill to swallow. So I drove all the way back to Blue Ridge and then got released and drove back to Fort Wayne. And I had no idea what to do. Everybody just finished camps, so everybody has the goalies they wanted. So my advisor was like, just hang around. We'll be in people's ears, but for now, just try and stay in shape and be ready. So I had to sit on my couch and just work out every day on my own, try to skate as much as I could on my own. I think it was up until December 26th because it was the day after Christmas. I got the phone call to go to the Elmira River Sharks. And they told me that they wanted to bring me in for a while. And I was just, I was excited, but I was really nervous because that was it. I'm finally going to get to play pro hockey. And I get to Elmira and I see there's three sets of pads in the locker room already. That's fishy. So I practice. I'm enjoying it a lot. And that's when I asked somebody, I was like, "Hey, why is there, extra sets of pads in here still?" They're like, "Oh, because one of our goalies just got put on concussion protocol. Last weekend, he's still around." I was like, "Okay, I get it." But either way, we go into the first game in general against the Binghamton Black Bears. We're at home. I'm backing up. I'm just soaking it all in. The whole game, I was just soaking it all in. Honestly, I was nervous just sitting on the bench. Um, And it wasn't like sold out or anything. Elmira didn't have that many fans at that game. So there wasn't really a reason to be all that nervous besides just being in my own head. But I was just sightseeing, looking around, taking in the atmosphere, like, wow, I'm here. And meanwhile, we were just getting absolutely routed by the Black Bears, just routed by them. They were a wagon. I mean, they won the championship after all.
Yeah.
But we get to the second period, and coach looks at me and he goes, "Hey, you're going in third." It's like, oh man, I haven't seen a puck in an hour and a half. I haven't gotten on my feet minus intermissions in an hour. I was like, I don't know. We're down. I think it was down 6-0 after the second period. So I got to go back to the room, regroup. Like, wow, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Don't screw this up. I'm doing this. So I'm out there. I'm like trying to dial in. And he's like, no more goals. No more goals are going in. I'm like, okay. And then I go out there. We get a penalty instantly. Leave, I think it was Don Oliveri alone in the slot. Kicks me. First shot goes in. Awesome. And then I think a few minutes pass. I finally get my first few saves and I'm feeling good. And then same thing happens. I think they left somebody wide open in the slot and he just one times at home. And I think I ended up with like maybe 10 shots and 2 goals against in a period. So on paper, it looked awful and it brought down my EP and my stats in general. Made them look awful. So this is it. Like I gotta pick something up the next game and get these back up because people won't ask why are the stats so bad. They just see the
Yeah.
stats.
Yeah.
But it was just a terrible situation to be thrown into. But after all, it was really cool. I'm glad it was my first game dressing that I got into because otherwise I think I would have thought too much about it if it was just a start in general. Um, but then we played 3-3, so we had 2 games after that. Didn't get into either of them, and then celebrated New Year's in Elmira. And then the next day, that's when he told me like, "Hey, our whole plan the whole time was once this goalie got off concussion protocol, we were gonna get rid of you." So they got rid of me, and that one hurt because they told me it was gonna be a long-term thing,
Yeah.
especially after my stats going down after that one period against the best team in the league. Um, so all said and done, I'm back in Fort Wayne. And I was like, that's probably my season. And I'm just still trying to stay in shape because there's still time left. And I get a call from the Baton Rouge Zydeco to go down there. And that is a long way from home. I was like, I don't want to do this whole Elmira thing again, go down there for a weekend and then get released. So I questioned them quite a bit. But I did end up pulling the trigger. I went down there and it was around this time exactly, actually, because my first weekend there was Mardi Gras.
Well,
So
probably a sick weekend.
I got to experience Mardi Gras on my first weekend there. And that was crazy. There's just you can't even describe it. It was wild. We had to be part of the parade and stuff, rollerblading down, trying not to trip on beads. And it was just wild. It was the coolest experience and talk about team bonding. That was team bonding. But I think we go through 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I was there for 3 weeks. I dressed all 6 games I was there for, but I didn't get a chance to play. Me and the other goalie came in at the exact same time. They wanted to see what he had, so they let him play all 6 games, and then I was going to play the next weekend. And the coach got fired, so new coach came in, didn't meet me, didn't watch me skate, didn't do nothing, just cut me off the bat. Said he's bringing in his own guys. Sorry, the way it went. So that was the end of the road in Baton Rouge. So I went home. I thought for sure that's the end of my season. And that's when it was. But I make it probably a month down the line. I'm at a roller hockey tournament in Fort Wayne. And I get a call from the same equipment manager from the Komets that invited me to camp. He was like, "Hey, Indy Fuel need a goalie tonight against the Komets." He was like, "Do you want to do it?" I was like, "When do I have to be there?" Like, in an hour. I was like, "I'm in roller skates right now." He's like, "Well, you got an hour if you want to do it." So, man, I shed everything so fast. I think I left everything there in the locker room. And I said, "Somebody please take care of that." And I just zoomed home as fast as I could, got in a suit, and got to the Coliseum as fast as I could. and my first game in the Coliseum was against the Komets. And that was pretty funny. But since I was there for a roller hockey tournament, all of my roller hockey teammates and my family and extended family all showed up to cheer for the Indy Fuel. So that was cool. Getting to do warm ups with my entire support group around the glass in the Coliseum was surreal.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. I had a lot of pictures of that. Yeah, it's a lot of home screens for me. But that was the end of my rookie season, if that's what you want to call it. I only dressed 2, 3, 6. I think I dressed 9 games. My first season didn't play a single game besides that period. So
Yeah.
technically now I'm in my rookie season. But that's how the first year went. So that's 1 out of 3.
Yeah, one out of three. So then, like you always got your foot in the door that season, and with everything that happened, and got in a game in a period, and then what were you expecting? Like going into like obviously the off season happens, and then like what happens from like the off season until like this season that starts.
Yeah. I knew I didn't put myself in a good position. Well, it wasn't really on me. I knew that, but I wasn't in a good position to come in and just take a job from anybody. I knew I was going to have to grind and battle for whatever I needed and what I wanted. So um, I think it was actually a pretty late deal. Um, I was trying to decide where to go, what was available. I had like offers from 2 different teams, but I was going to be the sixth goalie at camp. It's like that's a lot of goalies.
Yeah.
So and then Danville reached out and they were like, I know there's a stigma, like guys don't want to come to Danville after what happened with VC with the Bobcats, and it's not the greatest little town according to people. And I know we don't get the most fans in the league, and it's a new team, but we'd love to have you if you want to come out and try out. There's only going to be 4 goalies here, and we have an expansion draft goalie here who we think we're going to take, but we're looking for a backup, and it's close to home for me, so I decided I was going to take my chance to make that backup role instead of going to try and be a backup out of 5 goalies. I was going to take my chance with 3. So I did that. I showed up here, strictly business. I was coming here to get a job. So I came in, I felt really good in camp. So I'd been training with most of the Komets players all off season that stick around, play roller hockey with me and such. So they really taught me what it was like to be a pro, how to go in every day as a true professional, whether it's as, physical or mental, how to really, impact a coach's decision. So kudos to them for really helping me there. One of the goalies that I trained with all summer was actually one of the goalies I was competing with. So that was kind of odd. Great guy, but in the end, there was one job up for grabs. So I was really hoping, I'm really hoping he's going home and I'm not.
Yeah.
So we get to, I think it was day 2 or 3 of training camp, and it was similar to college. Coach comes up to me, AJ Tesorero, and says, "You made the team. I want you to be my guy. I don't want you skating the rest of the week." He's like, "I want you dressing, but I don't want you skating the rest of the week." So I just sat on the bench and watched the scrimmages, and tried to see what was going to happen. We had the expansion goalie here, Oscar Walgren. He was still trying to make the team technically, alongside other guys. So it came down to it. I ended up I got the starting role coming in with Oscar. And I know he has quite the resume coming from NCAA D3 at Curry, which is an amazing program.
Yeah.
He's a big boy. He's a really big boy. He knows what he's doing. He is an amazing goaltender. So I knew I had my work cut out for me. But that first weekend, we went to Watertown and played the Wolves. Shaking my boots the whole time, not gonna lie to you. Tried to have that chip on my shoulder, but it was tough getting my first pro start, and it was on the road against a pretty good team that we watched beat Binghamton the weekend before us. So we knew it was gonna be a battle. Went into it. Actually had a pretty good game. I think we only lost by a few goals. My game at least. So I felt really good going into it, and that really built confidence up going into the rest of the season. So it's kind of how I got to Danville. I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah. So you get your first like official start. So like and do pretty good. Like I remember watching that game. Like you did good as well. And then like the rest of the season has been quite the journey for you, I'm sure. So like what have you learned from your your official rookie season?
Man, yeah, I think I could write a book about all the stuff going on here. I really could. And that's not to say anything against the city of Danville or the Dashers
Yeah.
or our fans or anything. But man, going into that second weekend, we played Athens and we steal that game. We steal Friday night against supposed to be one of the best teams in the league with all these coast guys and SP guys. And we were riding our high horse. Um, I think I finished with some 40 some saves. Honestly, it wasn't that bad of a night for me. It didn't feel like 40, but I was also just dialed in. We were home. My family was there. Um, got to celebrate my first professional win, and that was just an amazing experience. And then Saturday, we ended up losing. I started that game as well. I got pulled in the second period because they were just, they came out very angry about the night before, just like
Yeah.
Liberty did in college. So I came out of that game, and after the weekend, it felt all right. It was like, yeah, we stole a game from one of the best teams in the league, but like, there's only one way to go, which is up. Yeah, we were wrong. Um, we were on, I think, game 36 in a row of losing since then. I have been involved in 34 of them. There was two games that I was not there because I was released mid-season when we had a coaching change. To say this year has been mentally challenging would be an understatement. Just coming from any athlete, or especially hockey player or goaltender, like you would probably agree is just you hate losing, hate
Yeah.
it. It's the worst feeling in the world. I would rather do anything in the world than lose, even if it's
Yeah.
just cards or like darts or anything. iPhone games, I can't. No, I don't lose. I
No.
don't like
No.
losing.
No.
And to get to the point where we're at, um, we got through. So AJ, our coach AJ, was here up until I think it was close to Christmas. Yeah, and then yeah, because one of his last games was when I had my goalie fight. Um, and after that, he got released. New guy came in, and his first day on the job said that things had to change, which we totally agreed with. We were all on board. We loved AJ more than anything in the world. He's still one of my best friends. I owe the world to him for everything he did for me here. Um, I wish things could have been differently, but it's business. So when he came in, he made all these points across that like things have to change. We're gonna start winning games. We're like, okay, this is awesome. He's like, I'm just gonna go one by one and start talking to some of you guys. Um, so I thought they were just going goalies first. So he called me and Oscar. So I went in first, and he just says, "We're gonna have to let go of you." I was like, "Okay, that's really hard to hear." So I get released, and then I get finished packing my gear. I'm just a mess at that point. And here comes Oscar. He's like, "Did you get released too?" I said, "Yep." It's like, well, I don't know what's going on, but this is going to be interesting. So his first day on the job, he releases me and Oscar. And Oscar stays here because he's from Sweden. So it was going to take him some time to get home or figure out what he was doing.
Yeah.
But I was crushed. Um, I gave everything I had to this team. Um, Blood, sweat, tears, just anger and everything I've given to this team, the community. So honestly, it brought me back to that point in juniors where I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. You know, I get attached really easily to the people that I love, and people in Danville are no exception. I love being here. Playing for Coach AJ was amazing. But when I got released, I was like, okay, back home. Here I go. So I go home and I'm trying to reach out to teams, see if I clear the waiver wire. And I do clear the waiver wire. And the weekend comes up. So I watch the Dashers play against Port Huron the weekend that me and Oscar were not here. And it did not go very well. It did not go very well at all. To say I wasn't just grinning just a tad would be a lie. Everybody's been there, but it didn't go well. And I think it was 2 days later, Coach Esau reached out to me and said, could you accept my apology?" I said, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Yep, I messed up big time. I want to bring you and Oscar back." It's like I got to think about it. I got to think about it. It's just that's a really hard decision going back to where I just came from
Yeah.
with everything going on, everything just stacked up with the odds against you, and the way you went out. It's hard to go back and play for a guy like that who did that to
Yeah.
you. But my friends and my teammates and the people that I cared about were all still here, and it is a job. I didn't have any other teams really lined up at the time, so I decided to come back to Danville. I actually persuaded Oscar to come back. He was not going to, but I persuaded him to get the duo back together. Definitely one of my favorite goalie partners I've ever had. I get lunch with him every day. I hang out with him every single day. Amazing goalie, better person.
Yeah.
I got him back, and we've been here ever since. And not many things have changed on the ice. It hurts, but we are doing everything we possibly can to
Yeah.
stay positive mentally and physically. And as you heard up to today, um, our head coach got fired again, 2 days ago, I think, or yesterday, and we don't have an official head coach yet. Some of the team knows, but that's just the leaders, which is myself and a few other captains. But nothing's been released to the public yet. So another change is coming, and it's been a whirlwind of a season to say the least. But honestly, it sounds crazy, but I wouldn't change a thing for the world. It's if you can go through this, you can go through anything. So it's
Yeah.
just trying to maintain what you can control and what you can't control, and being able to differentiate between the two is huge. So it's been a battle, but we're here and I'm happy.
Yeah. That's all you can do is control what you can control, and you're grinding every day, getting better every day at practice, like, and just trying to find like ways to get better, and like same thing with everyone else. So like if you keep doing that, like it's gonna become like a positive environment, which I'm sure you guys have like within the room and everything. Is just everything's positive and just getting better every day.
Yeah, exactly. Every day it's just how can we challenge ourselves to be better today? We start not to think about, our schedule or what's coming up or our record, but what we can do to make ourselves better every day. So that's the way we're going with every day in and out.
Yeah, and that's all you can do. Like, what do you look forward to every day? Like, do you have like a list of things in the back of your mind to get better at every day, or like how do you go about practices?
Yeah, it's tough. It depends on the day, but usually it's just getting better mentally and physically. Like the more games I play, the better I play mentally,
Yeah,
better I feel mentally. Um, every day it's just can I leave still feeling satisfied with what I did today?
yeah,
Can I leave not having that pit in my stomach? Like I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. Just go out, dial in for an hour and a half every day, get a workout in, and then just go home and don't think about hockey. That's exactly what I go through. Um, because if you just sit there and think about it, especially this year, you are going to drive yourself crazy.
yeah,
So we found ways, especially the OG guys that have been here all year, me and Oscar and a few other guys. Um, it's it's been a battle, but I give credit to these guys so much, as well as myself, for battling through this. And the support we have here is amazing, especially given the performances we've put on the ice. The fact that people still show up to our games is amazing, and everything they do for us, and all these other teams giving back to us, given what we're going through, is incredible. It's it's been something to live through.
yeah. Like the Fed family comes through no matter what happens. Like no matter what team it is, like it all comes back and helps out when teams need it.
Yeah, the outpouring we've been getting the last few weeks is crazy. everything came out when I was loaned to the Knoxville Ice Bears a few weeks ago in the SPHL. That's when the Carolina weekend happened, the infamous Carolina weekend for the Dashers, where we only sent, I think, 6 players, seven
Yeah.
players. I was not here for that. I am not biting that bullet right now. But um, yeah, no, I was seeing everything from Huntsville, Alabama on my phone going on, and just the outpouring of care and generosity from the whole Fed family is wild.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We unpacked all the donations we received last night from the rink. It probably took us all an hour, 2 hours of unpacking things
Wow.
and sorting things. And we had a full Jeep and a full truck full of donations just from a few teams. And then Binghamton this weekend dropped off a whole bunch of stuff for us. Um, they would donate gift cards and food and all the different things we could possibly need. And it's more than we can even ask for. We don't know what to do with it. Like we're splitting everything up so much that it's hard to keep track of. But we
Yeah.
really do appreciate it. And being in Binghamton this weekend with everybody, all the support was crazy. From an away venue with as many fans as they get, it was wild. And I'll never forget it.
Yeah. That's awesome. And just goes to prove that the good things do happen, even if it's a struggle, like good things do happen.
Exactly. People do care. It's a huge thing.
Yeah, exactly. But you did, like you said, like you mentioned, you did go up to Knoxville for like a week. So like what was it like being up in Knoxville and in the SB?
Yeah, that was cool. It was a last second thing. With all, I think it was the Four Nations tournament and a bunch of things going on with injuries in the coast and the AHL. Their goalies got called up to the ECHL, so they had a emergency call up of me and Hunter Brostick from Blue Ridge. We went up to Knoxville, but it was in Huntsville, Alabama. So they asked if I would come back up. It was probably just a weekend thing. It just depends on how long their goalies were called up as well.
Yeah,
So I went into it with those expectations being realistic, but just trying to make the most of it. Went up there. Guys were amazing. The staff was amazing. Coach was amazing. I didn't get to play, unfortunately, because I had to get signed as an e-bug for the weekend because paperwork just wasn't working out in time for the game. But either way, just being a part of that was amazing. The skill it's a step up, but it's just the way they get treated is a big culture shock. You know, they get treated like pros. And I'm sure a lot of teams in the Fed get treated like pros, and we do here in Danville as well. But it's a night and day difference because of the resources that they have available.
yeah,
So it was really cool to be a part of, and it couldn't have happened during a better weekend, I guess. So yeah, that was really cool to experience. And I saw some, one of my friends' families lives down there, so I got a chance to see them. My family got a chance to watch online, and it was just a really cool experience. And I'm glad I made those connections in case it ever happens again. So
yeah. You always have those connections once something like that happens, and like you never know what could happen. It's a great experience as well.
exactly, just being on that call list whenever he needs a goalie is makes it worth that trip.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. But I have a few more questions before we wrap this episode up.
Sure.
We'll dive into the Q&A session a little bit here. The first one's from Doyle, and he said favorite Doyle story.
Favorite Doyle story? Oh man,
That guy's a clown. I love
that
him.
guy is a clown, and I spend so much time with Doyle now that he's back. I'm trying to think. There's so many
He's a
good Doyle
beauty.
stories.
He's a
He's
beauty.
an absolute beauty. Um, it's either him just messing with our coach, um, and nobody else would. He just stands up and just says the most random things to our coach that nobody else would have the guts to do. It's not disrespectful or anything. It's just so out of pocket. But I also think he was on the brink of making the team in training camp, and he knew he probably wasn't going to make it. So with my roommate now that I have, they made a deal. I'm probably not going to make the team on my skill. Well, will you fight me in training camp? So they had this agreement. My roommate's huge. He's probably
Yeah.
6'5", 6'6", Bowie Slarks. He's a big boy. And Doyle, he's Doyle. So
Uh-huh.
he's like, just don't kill me. So They agreed. And they square up in the last day of training camp right before we have our exit interviews. And they fight right in front of the bench where I'm sitting. And Doyle is just eating punches to the face, just eating them, just left and right. And I'm just wincing every time he gets drilled in the face and he gets off the ice. And um, he has his exit interview and he's like, I guess you didn't punch me in the face enough because I got released. And then he goes, oh man, I gotta meet my girlfriend's family tomorrow. And he's just all black and blue. His nose is all different ways, and he has a black eye. And yeah, that was probably my favorite Doyle story. It was just he would do anything to be with the boys, as in take 100 punches to the face in training camp for no reason.
Yeah, that's the type of guy he is. He'll do anything to be with the boys and make a good story out of it. Gotta love that.
Yes, he is a great guy. I love him.
Yeah, absolutely. The next question is tips and advice for guys looking to get to the next level.
I would just say work ethic, doing things when others aren't looking. A lot of people want to go out and impress coaches and scouts and stuff like that, which is important. But it's what happens when people aren't watching that's really important.
Yeah,
Because even coming from pros, if you're not being hard on a Monday or Tuesday, you can't just flip a switch or snap your fingers and go into game mode on Friday night. It's
yeah,
just not. So I just say holding yourself accountable, just being a pro, even no matter what level you are, just being a pro every day, no matter who's watching. You just got to put that grind in if you want to be where you want to be mentally and physically, just taking care of yourself.
yeah, exactly. That's a great piece of advice, and it's gotta keep yourself accountable and just keep doing the things that will make you notice, make you a pro at the end of the day.
Yeah, people will see it, whether you believe it or not, they will see it.
Yeah, exactly. The next question is who's been your biggest supporter and people that's helped you out since starting your rookie season?
Definitely my family. I had to put that out there. My family just being there for me, whether it's physically or not. I am close to home. I get to see them more often than what I did last year. They're definitely my biggest supporter, but I also have to thank like friends and former teammates, current teammates. Oscar is a big thing for me. He's a big supporter. It's just nice to have, you know, other goalies to talk to.
Yeah.
Pick their brain. They can pick yours. Did you see what I saw in this play? Things like that. My roommate is a huge help to me. I'm trying to keep my brain away from hockey when I'm, not at the rink when I don't need to be. But I would just say my friends, family, and current and former teammates the last 2 years, there hasn't been one bad person that I've met. They would all be in my corner and I'm in their corner forever. So
Yeah, that's huge, especially just all the support, no matter who it's from, like it always feels good and like you always got their backs too.
exactly. They're always the first person to ask, how are you doing? It's
Yeah,
it's not, did you see this or you should do this? It's how are you doing today? Like actually, how are you? So
yeah,
it doesn't go overlooked.
yeah. Not some like BS thing. Like they actually like mean how are you?
Yeah, they are listening to you. They do want to know how are you doing today and what can I do to make you feel better?
Yeah, exactly. But my final question is like obviously like you're 5'10", like we're both on the shorter side of being a goalie. So like what are like tips to get to like help yourself not get overlooked by from being how from the size of how you are?
Yeah, I would just say own it. You
Yeah.
know, I was always the woe is me card going in high school and stuff. Like, man,
Yeah.
what I would do to be 6'4", what I would do to be this guy. Then
Yeah.
I got to pro, I'm like, screw that. I am who I am. I'm gonna be
Hmm.
who I am. So I just said, harness what you have.
Yeah.
Everybody has something different. Like I said, I like to be flashy and I like to think I'm very quick and flexible. So I just own it. I'm not going to go out there and try to be a Ben Bishop because I'm not built like him, not meant to be like him.
Yeah.
So I want to be who I am and harness who I am and use it in the ways that I can use it. I want people who are 5'10" and shorter than me to look at me and be like, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want people looking up to NHL players all the time and being like, man, are his size though, play just like him, or I'm going to play like him, but I'm, not built the way he is.
Yeah.
I just want people to know, like, it doesn't matter what you're going off of. Like, make your own, you know? So that's kind of my motto is just own it.
Yeah, that's great. Like you have like you are who you are. Like you can't change it. So you just gotta go with what you got and make the most of it.
Exactly. You can't change the way things have been handed to you. So you might as well just own it and move forward. Nobody really cares. It's your life.
Yeah, exactly. I love that answer. But Parker, thank you again for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time and want to wish you the best of luck with the rest of this season and going forward.
Of course, thanks for having me. It's been a blast. I appreciate you.